Okay, so this brew house, there should be harps playing when you open the door to this place,
Sometimes we do.
right?
Okay, so the grain through the very gentle conveying system through the cable and puck system is now being filled in that hopper above our wet mill. So once it's time to turn this grain into beer, we'll actually hydrate that grain as it's going into the wet mill, which gives a very gentle crush. Once we have achieved that gentle crush, the grain is moved into the mash mixer, where it'll be steeped like an oatmeal at a desired temperature, mixed up thoroughly. Then we'll go ahead and make sure we have the exact right texture we want. Once we have achieved our texture, we do a couple of tests. We move the grain over into our lauer tun, and that's where the important process of taking what we've now extracted from the grain and turning that into wort and then beer.
I want to ask you about the tanks and the equipment and everything that you have there, because this was the biggest jigsaw puzzle in the history of brewing. So how many different pieces come over from Germany? You said 2 million?
So there's about 2 million pieces we figure on all of this. Of course, the big pieces were the internal and the external part of each piece. And then everything else, you can even see some of the areas that aren't painted yet. You can see how everything was welded together and how the process was put together.
You didn't have any pieces left over when you were done. That's always my problem when I'm trying to put things together.
Surprisingly, we did.
Really?
By design.
By design, of course.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
is by design in this place.
Yes.
Since.
So the brew house took us about 4 months to complete.
And that was working 7 days a week.
7 days a week. We worked around the clock. Very long days. A short day was 12 hours.
Right.
So, and we had crews in here from 7 states and 4 countries in different capacities helping out with their specialty.
7 states, 4 countries to put this thing together.
It's pretty exciting.
That's mind-blowing. There is a word that's used a lot back here, and it's efficiency.
Yes.
I mean, when you built this plant and the way that you make the beer, everything is designed to be, and I know this is very important to you, everything's designed to be as efficient as possible. Why is that so important?
It just makes for a better flow. It means that, number one, we are committed to constant process improvement with our beer and also with our flow. So the previous brewery we built, we didn't quite have this type of flow, so you often have teammates having to crisscross a lot. In this brewery, you'll notice as we flow, grain starts at the west end of the building, raw materials at the east end of the building, they meet in the middle and then move seamlessly right out the building.
Where do we go next?
Thought you'd never ask. We're headed to the cellar.
As we look at all of these tanks here, it's an impressive spectacle, but you're already thinking about 5, 10, 15 years in the future. When you design this place is built for growth and for more of these tanks and more delicious Toppling Goliath beer at some point.
Yes, it is. We have the infrastructure in place. So what you're looking at in here with our small row of 200 barrel fermenters and our 100 barrel fermenters is you're looking at just the tip of the iceberg. We'll fill this center part up of the cellar up with more fermenters, 200 barrel tanks and possibly some 300 and 400 barrel fermenters. So the next time you come in, or within a few years from now, this entire space will be filled with tanks.
When you're in Decorah and you're looking to play chess, don't play with Clark, because Clark is a guy who's thinking 5, 10, 15 moves ahead of the game. And I know this is something you're really proud of, and it's the canning line, right?
Yes.
So canned beer from Toppling Goliath, all the beer that we're buying on store shelves right now is made here in Decorah.
It is, that is correct.
So that's due in large part to this new canning system you have. And one of the problems with canning is that dissolved oxygen, but you guys have a way around that.
Well, it's speed and our process. You're right about that. Your cans have a little more exposure to the environment, and they obviously have a bigger surface area that's exposed to the environment. So we had the experts come in from Cronus, and we've really tweaked this machine, especially the software, and we've got it running at absolute top speed. It's about 250 cans a minute, and the great thing...
Wait. 250 cans a minute.
It's amazing to see it run. It's an absolute Ferrari.
And that's by tweaking the software a little bit?
That's setting the software so
wow.
it's at wide open.
Right on.
It's at wide open and just getting everything, all the equipment to communicate with the filler well. So we're averaging under 30 parts per billion O2 pickup, dissolved oxygen pickup, which is extremely low.
Right.
The last few runs, our average has been 24 parts per billion. You know, and you're talking per billion, and we're that fussy.
Right.
You know, Whereas a lot of people would be happy with 60. No, we want it lower.
So. Efficient, never stop learning, and high standards.
Yes. And great equipment.
And
I mean, that is a $2 million piece of equipment.
No kidding.
Yes.
No kidding. Wow.
So, and want to take a look at it. It's pretty nice. We're pretty proud of it. As you can see, one thing that really helps the speed is you can see all the heads in there.
Right.
So as that is rotating, it's a 24 head machine, so you have 24 cans at a time being purged, filled, and kicked out through here. They come through, this is your open exposure area, then they're quick leveled off with CO2 where they go into a seamer where the can is seamed. After the can comes out, it's washed, dried, and x-rayed for 2 reasons.
X-rayed?
It's x-rayed, yes. We have the x-ray set up. We're looking for the perfect seam, and we're looking for the exact perfect amount of volume in the can. So anything that's not right, the machine will kick out, and then the employees get that.
So when I'm cracking open a bottle of, a can of Golden Nugget,
it was x-rayed.
That thing has been x-rayed to make sure it was absolutely perfect before it got into my refrigerator.
And there's no radioactivity left in the beer.
I was going to say, do I get superpowers? Because I feel like I do sometimes. That's awesome.
So you want to head and see where the beer ends up?
Yes.
All right, we're going to head to our mega cooler.
Well, I'll tell you where the beer ends up. The fridge in my garage. Fact. Okay.
So the cooler, you can see this is glass half empty, glass half full.
Right, because you're happy to see there's a real dichotomy when it comes to a cooler space like this, because when it's got so much beer in it, you think, hey, let's get out there and sell the beer.
You got to get your sales team in here and say, what is going on? Get rid of this beer.
Right.
The second the beer's gone, you get your brew team in here. What's going on? You've got to make more beer.
Right.
And that's how the circle of life flows in a brewery.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, I can't tell you. I mean, we've been to plenty of breweries on this show. It's no stretch to say this is far and away, it has to be the most impressive. Am I right? I mean, the most impressive setup we've seen.
You need to come and see it to really experience it.
No, for real. This is absolutely a trip that you have to make, the pilgrimage to Toppling Goliath. Clark, we cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.
For showing us behind the scenes back here. Just really, it's breathtaking, guys. And somehow we all knew it would be, right? It's Toppling Goliath after all. Just wonderful. Thanks again.
Thank you. We're actually picking some raw materials right now, and then they come out. That's Beer Murph, that deer in the headlights look right there.
They were counterfeiting your beer. So that's got to make you, one, enraged and unhappy, but maybe just a little bit flattered, or just totally just mad?
Mostly annoyed.
Just annoyed.